Today we're going to be learning about copying and bisecting an angle and some basic angle definitions. First thing, we need to know what an angle is, and we will define this by saying it is a figure formed by two rays that share a common endpoint and we're going to call this endpoint a vertex. So if I were to draw an angle on the side, I see one ray, here's another ray, here's their common endpoint. That is called the vertex. Now, an angle bisector, we've talked about a bisector before and the fact that a bisector will split something into two equal parts. It's the same idea here. Perhaps it's maybe a segment or maybe even another ray that will split this angle or split any angle into two equal parts. Okay, so a couple of definitions just to keep in mind. We are going to start by actually using our compass and straight edge and creating this angle bisector. So we are going to take angle BAC and we are going to bisect it, in other words, cut it into two equal parts. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move your compass and put the sharp point at A. And we're going to extend the drawing part wide enough so that when you make an arc, it'll give you a little bit of room and it will intersect your both of the rays that create the angle. Don't change your compass setting, keep it the same size. We're going to pick your sharp point up, move it to a point of intersection, and you're going to make a mark. And then you're going to do the same thing over here, pick your sharp point up, move it to a point of intersection. Just like the other constructions, once you get your point of intersection, you are going to take your point of intersection and the vertex and connect the dots. So at this point, we have now bisected the angle. And I can see both of these parts here and here are going to be congruent. Down below, we're going to do another construction. Let me get my compass. And we are going to copy this angle. So I want to take this angle BAC on the left-hand side and I want to move it over here to this ray that I have. So again, first thing we're going to do is put the sharp point at A, very similar to our last construction, and we're going to make a mark, make sure it goes through both of the rays. Okay? We're going to pick up your compass, move it over to A prime, and do the same thing. And we want to make a pretty good size arc because again, I'm going to have to find a point of intersection. At this point, you're going to take your sharp point and we are going to move it over to your angle, and what we want to do is get it so that the compass is as wide as the angle. So I want to get the sharp point on one point of intersection and the drawing point on the other. And when I get it there, make a mark. I want to show that I've actually measured this angle. Okay, at that point, I'm going to pick my sharp point up, move it over to the point of intersection, and again, we're going to make an arc, and you can make a great big arc. And so again, I find that point of intersection. So with a straight line, you're going to take vertex A, you're going to connect it to that point of intersection, and now I can see that we have copied angle BAC. So if we were to label points, this would be point B prime, and we have C prime already labeled. Okay, some different vocab types of angles, just to make sure that we have down. An acute angle is any angle that is between 0 and 90 degrees. An obtuse angle has a measure between 90 and 180. A right angle has an angle of measure of 90 degrees. A straight angle is 180 degrees. Basically, that would look like a straight line. And a reflex angle is an angle that has a measure between 180 and 360. So just some basic definitions to keep in mind. A linear pair, maybe something that's a little bit new, is so we're going to define a linear pair to say two adjacent angles on a line. Adjacent, fancy way of saying next to. So I have two angles that are next to each other on a line. If they are adjacent, they do share a common vertex, so keep that in mind. Supplementary angles, we have angles. I'm going to start to use my angle symbol. Angles, that's an apostrophe S, that add to equal 180 degrees. Complementary angles are angles that add to equal 90 degrees. And the way I kind of like to remember this is if I put the letters in numerical order, or I'm sorry, if I put the letters in alphabetical order and then I put the numbers in numerical order, I see that they kind of match up. So the C above the 90 and the S above the 180. A different way that we can do this is if you take the letter C and you connect the two endpoints, it kind of looks like a 9 for 90. And if you take the letter S and you connect the two endpoints, it looks like an 8 for 180. So those are both maybe little tricks you can use to help remember those words. Complement. Now, complement, supplement, these are used quite a bit when we are doing word problems, as you're going to see below. And if I'm thinking complement, well, first idea, complementary, I know is 90. And a lot of times they'll refer to something as saying the complement of an angle. So let's say, for instance, I say that's X. That's my angle. The complement of that angle would be the one right next to it, adjacent to it. And the way I would find that measurement is by taking that 90 degrees and removing out that angle. So I can say, to represent the complement, 90 minus X will be your complement. Okay? In a very similar fashion, your supplement, again thinking supplementary 180 degrees. If I do the same idea, let's call this my angle. So X is the angle. To find its supplement, which would be on the other side of it, I would have to think, well, 180 degrees minus my angle would leave me with the supplement. So again, 180 minus X will represent the supplement. So we're going to try this in some word problems below. And so for number 3, it says an angle, and whenever we do this, I like to kind of diagram my word problems here. An angle is, I see this word is, and as soon as I see that, I think that means equals. So an angle is 14 degrees more than, when I see that, it's typically an add, its complement. Well, we set up above, the complement was 90 minus X. We also set up above the angle we were going to refer to as X. So over here, I'm going to do a little let statement and just say let X equal the angle. And I'm going to say let 90 minus X equal the complement. Okay, so now we're going to put this all together. So we have an angle, which is X, is, there's our equals, 14 more than its complement. And there's our equation. So now we get to solve. So if I combine terms on the right-hand side, I have 14 plus 90, that's going to give me 104. If we add the X over to the left-hand side, now I have 2X equals 104. And if I divide through by 2, I can now find X is 52. And from our let statement on the left-hand side, we said X was our angle, so we found the measure of our angle. One more problem we have to try. And again, we're going to try and diagram this so that we can hopefully break the words down and see our equation. So first thing I have is the supplement. Well, we said from above our supplement was going to be 180 minus X. Of an angle is, there's my equal sign. 9 more than, so again, more than, I typically think add, 4 times is multiply, its complement, and we have our complement of 90 minus x. So you have to find the complement, the supplement, and the angle measures. So again, keep in mind, x is going to be your angle. We know 90 minus x is your complement, and we know 180 minus x is your supplement. Okay, so the supplement of an angle is 9 more than 4 times its complement. So now there's our equation, and now we just have to solve it. So the first thing we'd want to do is simplify the right-hand side by distributing this 4 to both parts of our factor. So 4 times 90, we're going to have 360, and then 4 times negative x is negative 4x. We're going to combine the 9 and the 360. So we have 369 minus 4x. I'm going to add the 4x over to the left side. So now I have 180 plus 3x equals 369. If we bring the 180 over, now I have 3x equals 189. And I can divide through and find out what x is equal to. So x, keep in mind, that was your angle. Turns out to be 63. We needed to find the complement, which we represented as 90 minus x. So if I do 90 minus 63, we get 27. And we had to find its supplement, which was 180 minus x. And if I plug in 63 and subtract that out, I get 117. Hope that helped. Don't forget to like and subscribe.